Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Oh man, it's already the end of May. Happy belated Mother's Day. Happy early Father's Day. Happy all the days for all the people in all the world. And welcome to the next episode of the Pixelmo webinar series. And today's offering of the state of Microsoft Viva and the digital workspace. This is one of my favorite sessions that we do. We like to do these one to two times a year, once or twice a year is what I was trying to say, to really just talk about what's going on in the digital workspace universe, what's going on with everything that's going on with Microsoft. We like to just talk through it all and kind of just give a general, hey, here's what's going on, and here's what you should be thinking about. And we're doing that session today, and I'm very excited about it. My name is Michael Wells. I'm the Customer Success Manager here at CreoSpark and your host of the Pixelmo webinar series. Always a pleasure to be here with you all, and so happy to have you all here. This is your first time joining us. Welcome. So happy to have you joining us. And this is your second, third, 33rd and a half webinar with us. Thank you so much for coming back. We love having you here. We love having you back with us. Hope you're glad to see you're still enjoying us, and hope you're ready to have some more fun today. Let's move on to the next slide. I'm going to talk through a few things real quick and talk through how our day is going to look. Just a little bit of an agenda for you guys. You should be able to see that on the screen. We're going to do some introductions and some housekeeping in just a little bit. Then we're going to talk through some of the Viva modules, do a little 101 session on that. Talk about bringing Viva in the flow of work. We're going to see some of the Viva pieces in action. Talk about some Viva best practices. We're going to talk about next steps with Viva, and then, as always, we'll save some time at the end for some Q&A, as I'm sure you'll have plenty of questions. So let's move on into that housekeeping really quick. If you've got questions, please throw them on up in the questions panel. If you're on the desktop app, there should be a pop-out thing that says questions. If you are on the browser version, there should be a chat bubble with a question mark. Throw your questions on up in there. I'm going to be following along the whole time. I will make sure your questions get in front of our speaker and make sure they get answered. If for some reason we don't get to them into that moment, we'll make sure we get to them in the end in that Q&A timepiece that we leave at the very end there. There's going to be some handouts coming your way toward the end of the session, so keep an eye out on the handout pop-out section. We'll have a couple panel, that's what I'm looking for, like it says on the screen. Keep an eye on that panel. Some handouts will be coming out to you during the session. And then we do record these sessions, so this will be available to you sometime next week. Keep an eye on your email. We'll get that out to you. We are going to have a survey as well at the end, so please, we would love to hear your feedback. We are a culture of improvement, and we want to make sure we're always putting out the best product and doing the best we can. So please, we would love to hear some feedback from you. That would be great. All right, so there's our little housekeeping. We're going to move on to some other stuff real quick, I believe. Oh yeah, I get to talk about the company now. I was thinking I was doing the poll next. I got my slides mixed up. So hey, as you may have heard, some exciting things have gone on in the Pixelmo webinar world. We are now the Pixelmo webinar series, brought to you by the fine folks at CreoSpark and the letters M and the number 365. A little joke for everybody there. Just a little over a year ago, we had the pleasure of merging with the fine folks at CreoSpark. We're now one big happy family. We've still got our headquarters in Davis. We've now got a headquarters in Toronto as well. And our sister companies are still creating all of that Microsoft magic that you've come to know from both sides. It's now even better, even more magical, and we're doing it all across North America. We're still here to help you guys with your Microsoft 365 implementations. We won't talk you through any of that stuff. We're going to talk through a lot of it today. You're going to hear all about it. We're still the same fun company with just a larger family, and we're so happy to have you all as a part of that. A little bit about us in case you hadn't met the CreoSpark family before or been to the Pixelmo webinar series before. All right, going on to our next piece here. I believe I finally get to do my little poll. Yep, we like to do these polls at the beginning of these sessions just to get an idea of where people are at. With maybe why you're here, what you're looking to learn, where you're at with whatever our topics are of the day. So obviously we're talking about Viva today, so that's going to be what we're talking about. I'm going to launch a poll here for you guys. It's going to show up on the screen. You should see it right now. How many Viva modules are you currently using? 0, 1 to 2, 3, 4, or 5+. Maybe you're just all about Viva. Maybe you're living La Viva Loca and you're using every single one of them. We want to know. Or you're using none of them, somewhere in between. Let us know. Give us an idea of where you're at on your Viva journey. Feels like there's a new one every day. Feels like it's a Starbucks in every corner. There's a new Viva module on every corner of the internet, every corner of the Microsoft universe. But they're so fun, and it's so fun to see how they all work together and how they all puzzle piece together. Let us know what you guys are feeling. You should be able to see that on your screen. Throw your votes on up in there. Let us know how you are feeling. Excuse me. All right, give you guys about 5 more seconds to do that. All right, we're going to go ahead and close that, and then I will share the results with you guys, because what's the fun if you can't see it? So overwhelmingly, we have most of you who are not using Viva at all just yet. Totally okay. You're going to learn all about it today. You got 35% of you who are using only 1 to 2 modules, 6% of you using either 3 or 4, and nobody is living that Viva life of using 5+ modules. Very interesting. I think you're all going to enjoy this session. Then that's a lot of fun to see. Very interesting to see. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to stop blathering on. I'm going to introduce you to our speaker today. He is, of course, the longest running, longest tenured, most featured speaker in the webinar series history. He is the originator, along with myself, of the Pixelmo webinar series. He's Microsoft MVP. He's the Microsoft regional director. He's our chief product officer here at this company. And he's this other guy, whichever side he is. I don't know. He's that guy, whatever side he's on. He is the one, the only Eric Overfield. Eric, how's it going today, boss?
Excellent, doing great. Hope you all are doing well. Thank you for that great introduction. Wow, that was a fascinating poll. That was fun. But
Very
yes,
fascinating.
thank you, Michael,
That's
for
not what I was expecting.
that intro. Yes.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, with the amount of people that are here, there's quite a bunch of you who are here live. That's really interesting and fascinating. 50% of you aren't using anything in Viva yet. I'm glad you're here. I hope that I can show you some of the value of what it has. And yeah, we're gonna have some fun. As Michael said, we've done this session about this kind of webinar on the Viva topics about once a year. I think this is our 3rd or 4th time we've done it, because it's changing so fast. I mean, it's in a sense like if we did a SharePoint session a couple times a year, kind of similar, but Viva is so much bigger. Things are happening, and you hear things in September of 2022. Here it is May of 2023, and we've heard nothing since on some things. I want to get into all that and like talk about what's going on, what do we see, and hopefully help you make some sense of it. Again, a lot of you who are using 0 modules, maybe up into 1 or 2, and then those of you using the 4 up into the 5+, because there's just so much there. So I think with that, let's go ahead and get moving. Let's get started. Okay, so I always like to start with the why are we here? What are we trying to do here? And Satya Nadella, Chairman CEO Microsoft, recently had this quote around how AI is changing the way that we are working, and the idea of AI to help with alleviating digital debt. Okay, yeah, building AI to do, and empower employees, which I really think is true. And Viva was built around the idea of utilizing Graph, utilizing M365, utilizing AI within these different modules to help with the employee experience, or how the employee, how an individual team member within an org is working within the organization, how they're doing their job, how they're feeling within their job. You know, the workforce has changed over the last X years. Name a number, 5, 10, 20, 100, 300 years. It's changed a lot, and people are looking for different experiences within their organizations they work for. And I do think it's worthwhile for organizations to take that to heart and to help empower their team, their employee, to do more. I see it's a huge win-win. I mean, people want good experiences within their life, and organizations want to succeed. Finding good employees is hard, and so you want to give employees the tools that they need to be able to do their job, as well as to create the connections and whatnot. And I'm seeing a lot of AI fall into this. It's one of the big updates I'm going to be talking about. So yeah, that's kind of why we're here as well, is to just look at where we are with Viva, what's going on with AI in Viva, what's going on with the modules in Viva, how is it going to help with our experiences. Since Viva's been out for a while, a lot of the one-on-one stuff I'm going to kind of leave to you, but I definitely want to talk through the modules. And I do have a demo that I want to go through, which is focused around like looking at Viva in the life of a knowledge worker. So we're going to dig into that, and hopefully that will start to show you some practical use cases for you to start looking at these different modules. So with that, yeah, let's live in the Viva Loca. I just think so much is going on that instead of what I used to do is go over the modules, I think we need to talk about what's the latest news, because it is fascinating, some stuff that's going on. I have to start with Copilot. I think it is the biggest game changer right now, what's going on in the digital workspace in general. So for those of you who are unaware of Copilot, or maybe only heard of this word, I'm sure many of you have dug into it as well, and like, wow, this is super cool. But I'm going to assume some of you, a lot of you, barely even heard of it or don't even know. Copilot is effectively, it's Microsoft's new approach. It's a single branded approach to providing GPT. So think ChatGPT, think AI augmentation within the Microsoft ecosystem. And let's just focus in on M365 for now, because that's where Viva is mainly living. So let's stay with that. The idea here is Copilot, this GPT-enabled chat feature, effectively something you can communicate with in a chat-like prompt system. It can help you generate content, can help you understand what to do and how to work within the Viva platform. And not a lot some has been announced. There's still, I'm sure, a lot to be announced, but I would think it's safe to say, and I don't know this for a fact, so I'm not giving away anything that I've heard in the last few months under NDA, that we would be seeing Copilot being integrated within all of the Viva modules. I don't know how they might do it, but I can see there's a big push within Microsoft to basically leverage GPT heavily within all the different modules. I think every single product within Microsoft's ecosystem is now attempting to understand how to pull in GPT within those different products. And an example of one would be something like Viva Goals, which is it's my current passion right now within the whole Viva ecosystem. If I had to pick one, it's where I think there's a lot of value there. Yes, there's value in other modules, but it's super cool. I think it's pretty clear to see that something like Viva Goals, which is an OKR framework, objective key result framework, about helping organizations set goals basically and achieve them. You can clearly see that something like ChatGPT or GPT could be integrated to that to say, hey, help me create some objectives for this quarter because I'm a marketing manager. That's like a no-brainer. And things like that could occur within Viva. We've been seeing within SharePoint. I know SharePoint's not directly Viva, but within SharePoint, Copilot is looking to help create content for like SharePoint pages based on a PowerPoint presentation or a press release we created. Go and help create a SharePoint page. That kind of cool stuff. I definitely expect to see a lot of that moving into Viva. Microsoft has said that. That's fascinating. I'm sure you can have a lot of questions. I may not be able to answer a lot of them, but that one's something we want to keep our eye on how GPT is going to help within Viva. Something cool about Copilot, it's one of the best names, brands that I've heard Microsoft adopt. It really is so descriptive because it's not called Pilot, it's called Copilot. It's not going to fly the plane for you. It might help you, but you still need to be there. I have done some fun things with GPT. I'm sure a lot of you have as well, where it really helped alleviate some of my fears in writing, let's say, where I could give it some prompts and outlines and it created some really good content that I could turn into my own. But I have yet to find GPT be good enough where I could just post something. It hallucinates too much. It's not right? I mean, GPT is only, well, it's not smart. It's actually really dumb, but it's really powerful. You need to turn it into your own. So really excited to see what Copilot is. I think it's a good branded tool. I'm excited to see how that will go somewhere. Some other big news. Yammer, the brand, is now gone. It's now called Engage or Viva Engage. So when you start hearing about Viva Engage and what happened to Yammer, that's the same thing now. Lots of roadmap, lots of entertaining stuff going on there, some really cool things. But it's worth knowing that changed. Viva licensing. Okay, I moved this to the top. Originally, it was at the bottom, and here's why. So I saved this for us. Let me see if I can find the link for you. Okay, so you're going to ask me some great licensing questions. By all means, please do. And you'll ask me what's GA? When's this stuff going to all come out? And here's my answer to you. Go to the Viva licensing page, and you gotta take what's there as the current truth, because I don't know when certain things are going to come out. I don't know why something announced in September has no real update. It is what it is. But if you go to the licensing page, this is the best way you're going to find out what the costs are of these different modules. They talk about the $12 per month for the Viva suite and what you can get. They used to have that 25% discount, which they say is still there. They said that was going to go away. Who knows? But you can see the modules that are GA. These are the ones that are listed that are GA. If we scroll on down, you can start to see, again, more of these different modules, what they're going to cost, because I don't want to try to get involved in licensing. I don't, always is changing, as well as what's GA. If we scroll on down to the bottom, you'll start to see things. I'll talk about something like Viva Suite with Glint. So if you're looking for pricing, if you're looking for what's available, because where's Viva Amplify here? We'll talk about that shortly, but not here. So that's something to think about. Is that GA or not? Where people in Viva, that's not there. Answers in Viva actually is. But where are these things and what are the costs? this is going to be the best place for you to go to. I do have a resource slide, by the way. We will be giving this deck away for you as well. So the link is here. Although if you just Google Microsoft Viva licensing, you're going to get the page that I'm showing you. Definitely the place to be. Okay. Viva plus Glint and Viva Pulse. Now this is another interesting one. Microsoft bought Glint a long time back. That used to be a part of, I think there's a LinkedIn, and then it got moved into the Viva platform. And Glint looks actually really cool. Glint is a great way for an organization to send out more like quarterly or yearly or biannually surveys to the organization with lots of different tracking and some really cool tools. Okay, great. Okay. And then Viva Pulse was announced. We're like, cool, okay, Viva Pulse is Glint, right? No, they are not the same. They are not the same code base, is what I've been told. Don't know if it's NDA or not, but because it wasn't really something secret, I just don't know. But they are separate, and that's interesting. And so the best place I can tell you about how to get more information on this, because it's not like Viva Pulse was announced in September, and I haven't really seen anything new. They had a private preview that has since been closed, so we're basically waiting for the public preview now. There are two links that I have. One is when Microsoft first talked about Viva Pulse and how they talked about what it's doing. Viva Pulse is really about when managers, more like individuals or team leaders, want to send out ad hoc quick surveys to understand how their team is doing, or what would our team is gonna meet next week for lunch. What might you want? Those kind of simpler kind of surveys, or what's the biggest frustration that you all are having with our Scrum meetings? Great idea. Viva Pulse is designed for that. Glint within Viva, or Viva plus Glint, is designed for more the organizational wide 1,000-person quarterly sort of surveys and whatnot. So there's a blog post that Microsoft wrote a while ago on that. There's also a post that was written, again, this is a while ago, but it's from the Glint community side, which is what's the difference between Viva and Glint and Viva Pulse. So this is great material for you to go back to if you're interested in what should be coming, but I can't give you more detail than really what's publicly available. So interesting news. I have some good links for you to go learn about it. I do not have timelines for you. You can get Glint today though. Viva plus Glint is available. If you saw it on the licensing page at the bottom, it's an add-on. It does cost more money for that, but the Viva Pulse thing, I'm excited to see where that's going to go. Moving right along, Answers in Viva. Okay, so Answers was a part of Yammer. It's now in Viva Engage, and Answers is kind of cool. It's an authoritative source that you curate, that your team can curate on answers based on questions. So you can add in questions, you can then add answers to it. So they're authoritative, and they live within Viva Engage. And in the infinite wisdom of the people that run our lives, the licensing for Answers is not in Engage, it's in Topics. So you need Viva Topic licensing to have Answers, which lives in Viva Engage. I'm not going to try to explain it because I don't know, but part of it is because an answer is tied to a topic. That is the theory behind how answers were built. So that is available. You can use that now today. The demo that I have, unfortunately, I don't have a Viva Topics license, and although we're going to see Answers in Engage, it's not activated because I don't have that Topics license, which is sort of a bummer, but we'll get past that because it's just one piece of the demo. And then finally, something that was cool that was announced in September as well, and I know that's 9 months ago, that's a little while ago, is People in Viva. And this is another one that I can show you what Microsoft displayed for us. You can Google it, People in Microsoft Viva, and it looks super cool. But I haven't seen any updates since then as to when this is going to go out. And if you even go to this blog post, at the bottom, people are asking for updates in April of 2023, and there hasn't been feedback on it. So can't fully tell you, but I am excited to see where this goes, and how deeply you can dive into to people and people cards within Viva itself. So there's a lot more going on for sure. But these are some of the real big things that I thought that you would really want to know about. Whoops, let me go back to my slides. Copilot's one I really want to watch. That one's gonna be interesting. The licensing continues to change. That's your best place to know it's GA. And the others are definitely interesting, and I think worth checking out. But do you want something like Viva Pulse? I think those kind of surveys is really good. I don't want to have to keep using something like Microsoft Forms to do it. I want something that has a memory to it. Authoritative answers through things like Viva Topics and Answers in Viva is going to be super cool. And then people, always helpful to be able to understand in organizations, who that person is, what are the things that they're working on, what is it that they're doing, because you're looking for people to often help you, and you're looking for the experts within your org. People in Viva, I think, has that opportunity. Okay, so that's sort of what's new. Now let's pull this together. A lot of you are new to Viva. A lot of you said you don't have any modules. So what's the ecosystem generally look like? And here's how I've worded this out. This is generally based on how Microsoft does it. I changed it just a little bit to match sort of my way of looking at it. Viva Connections is kind of an entry point to me. And they a while ago, Microsoft talked about something called Viva Home. I haven't seen much new about that. It kind of exists. We'll actually see it in the demo, but it really links into Viva Connections, which I guess is okay, but it's not really talked about as an individual module that I've seen. But Viva Connections to me is sort of the entry point to a lot of Viva. It's a great way to pull in the other modules, although Teams also does that as well. But Connection sort of pulls that in. Viva Connections also has the news, it has navigation, it has a way to like get around the org and whatnot. So that's sort of broad. Microsoft puts that into the connection column. I took it out because I think it's more of a broader thing. But within connections, about keeping everyone informed, this is where I see engaged living. I added Viva Amplify, although that's not GA yet, as we've seen, but I put it in because I think it's going to launch. I do. Microsoft's been talking about it. Amplify is around CorpCom. It's around corporate communications, being able to send out messages to the organization that are, of course, trimmed to people so that security trimmed to people so they get what they should or should not be seen. From more of a CorpCom perspective, I'm interested to really see how that goes. So that's this connection column. There's the next column with the insights column. This is a lot about understanding how I'm doing within the org, how my day, my week, my work life is balanced within the organization. It's also for helping managers and team leaders and executives understand how their team is doing. There's a lot of data privacy in that, which is super important, because we'll see that in the demo for those of you who haven't seen insights, that I might be sharing things that I don't, they're for me. I don't want anyone to know, including managers. Like, I don't need you knowing some of that stuff. And Microsoft gets that. And so they talk about that. There's links at the bottom kind of talking about what's shared here, what's not. So that you can understand how your workday, work week, work month, work life is going, as well as to find out your team. So that Pulse and Glint are in there because that's to help managers understand and get insights into how their team is doing. That's the insight column. Then there's the purpose column. So aligning you to the organization. And that's where Viva Goals jumps in. Again, my current passion, which is all around helping organizations set objectives, set goals, set time-bound things they want to achieve, and help to create some measurable components. In the terminology, it's KRs, key results, but it's the idea of something that's measurable to say that, yes, we achieved that, and we can track that. So that's this purpose column. There's a growth column about helping employees learn and grow and succeed, to be able to help them understand information within the org. That's where Viva Topics and Viva Learning comes in. Viva Topics is all around helping curate the knowledge and information within the organization. Not quite in the way that Viva Engage would. Viva Engage is much more about community and community knowledge, whereas Viva Topics is about specific topics, things within the organization, where you create topic pages that talk about that topic, have files, news, announcements, content, people that own the topic, etc. And those topics can then get surfaced throughout the organization within the flow of work, which is cool. Viva Learning is all about upskilling, about learning. And we're going to see a lot of these modules come together for real. That's what my big demo is about. And then Microsoft has created this productivity column currently that right now that's all about Viva Sales, which is, in my opinion, easy way to put it would be dynamics in Viva. All of these modules are designed to live within Teams. A lot of them actually live outside of that as well. But Teams is where a lot of us are working. And when I keep saying within the flow of work, that's what Viva is looking to do, so that you have one spot and you're able to go through all these applications in a sense within the single application. You don't have to keep content switching nearly as much. And a lot of them are supposed to be integrated with another one, Sync Viva Topics. Topics would get surfaced within a Teams chat, within an email message, etc. Yeah, so that's where Viva is in general. We've talked about news. We've talked about the primary GA module, the little ones that are coming. We've sort of talked about things that Microsoft's talked about, but we haven't seen full movement on yet. That's like, to me, a really good state of where we're at. Beyond that, for that one-on-one stuff, this is where Microsoft Learning is going to really help you out to dig in deep. Don't worry, I've got a lot of really good stuff, content for you. But I kind of wanted to set the stage as to sort of where we are right now. I often give sessions at conferences, and I often will give a session on Viva in an hour, and I go through each module, sort of one-on-one stuff, and I just talk about what each module does. To me, what I want to give you the value here is where we can take those modules, now that I've sort of gone over them, how can we actually turn them into something? Like, let's see it live, right? Let's see it for real. So to do that, what I want you to think about are different personas that would be using Viva. And there's more than these, but these are sort of the big ones that I thought of. And really, this could be a way of you helping understand how you'd want to be using Viva within your org, is come up with the types of people within your org that would be using Viva modules, Viva components, and how is Viva supposed to work within their work life so that it actually is useful. This might be a good way for the definitely for those of you who are using 0, 1, or 2 modules, to help pull it together into stories that you can then get project sponsors and leadership to understand this is the value and this is what we want to encourage. And here's the ROI that we're going to be able to give to our organization. Got the new hires. Those new hires turn into something else. Frontline workers, knowledge workers, managers, organizational leaders. All of these different people will use the different modules of Viva in a slightly different way. So you'll have your own module, your own personas, but I think these are kind of big 5. Now, the way that I want to do this is I want to walk through 2 scenarios for you, and you can get these slide decks so you can get the slide deck so that you can take this and create your own stories for your own org for different personas. The 2 personas I'm going to work through would be knowledge workers and managers, because I think a lot of people that we're interacting with, a lot of our clients, these are 2 really big roles that kind of every org seems to have. So I want to make sure to hit those up. And a lot of the things you'll see is like the knowledge worker, actually, this is a lot of the same stuff for new hires, frontline workers, managers, and org leaders that often do the same things that a knowledge worker might. Managers have slightly different take. They'll want to do a few other things, which you'll see, or each persona has its methodology they might you go through in order to be getting value out of the Viva platform, which can help save them time, help save frustrations, and really help them be generally more productive. So let's start with a knowledge worker. I think this is kind of the one that a lot of us fit in, and often kind of managers or leaders, they'll be doing a lot of the same things. So like, let's think day in the life of, So the premise here, the idea here is that in this case, it's going to be Rachel. She's our knowledge worker here. She starts her day off, and to do that, we want to know what's happened in the org today. And Viva Connections is that launching point. You saw how I kind of showed that Viva Connections was the wrapper to the rest of Viva. She can use this to see her own personal news that's tailored to her. There's conversations, there's communities she can see. Viva Connections can be used to provide a global navigation to help her navigate throughout the org, throughout the entire day, throughout the entire work time, as well as it has the ability to have a dashboard, which can then show and help surface important things she needs to be doing, like what's the tasks that have been assigned to her, or maybe what's happened during the weekend or during her time off, or let's talk broadly. We might say something like a international organization where the company never sleeps because someone's always working. Tasks can always be lined up, but it could also be that I check these things. Rachel checks something once a day, but she still wants to know, hey, what are some top of mind tasks that have been assigned to her, or some things that need to happen? Maybe there's applications outside of Viva that are going to need to ping her to say, hey, these are some things that you might want to do. Viva Connections provides that. Now, to help get started, when she kind of knows what's going on, to help start her day, she might want to look like, how am I doing within my job? What are my habits looking like? What are my meeting schedules looking like? I need to set some focus time. Can you help me find some time? Because lots of research showing every time we do context switching, it totally messes with us and stuff. So Viva Insights is a place that she can spend not even 5 minutes a day even to help get an idea, to get regrounded as to what has my schedule been looking like. How have I been working within the org? Have I been efficient with what I'm doing? Is there room for improvement? Or again, maybe I need a focused day. I need a meeting free day. Help me find that. I need some focus time in the next 3 days. Help me find that. And Insights can help provide that. Now she's working through her day, she's got to get information. She needs to learn about that new project. One of her tasks is to do something. She comes across a term she's unaware of within the org. And this is where Viva Topics can help surface that information, that topic. This is beyond just an answer. This would be about maybe a huge project the organization's working on that she needs to get caught up to speed on. And Viva Topics within the flow of work potentially, she was reading a Teams message or a task and planner or something. And the idea is that that topic would instantly be surfaced so she can dig into it, understand who it is, find out who the primary contacts are, and become more productive rather than having to go to Team Search, SharePoint Search somewhere, or start pinging people and asking, hey, do you all know about this Project X thing? Who should I go talk to? Topics are designed to cut that off and just help her get started and help her move forward. Now, as she's doing her task, she's realizing that there's some information that some knowledge maybe she's got a gap in. This is where Viva Learning can help her upskill, can help her go find out information on that task that she's got, as well as help build career skills. There's just things that we all might want to learn about, and Viva Learning helps us find that material. A lot of it's free through Microsoft Learn, but maybe your organization has external learning tools. Viva Learning can help integrate with those. She can search through them, find the interesting material, bookmark them, and help surface them so that she remembers the 20 different things modules she wants to eventually learn about, and they're all in one spot so she can go to help schedule time through Viva Insights to be able to focus on that time, as well as we'll see in the manager side. My next persona I want to walk through. Learning can be assigned to Rachel so that she knows these are the things that have or maybe her team leader or manager said, hey, these are things that will really help you. You want to take this course, and that will help you do your job. Now, to help build her personal network, to help engage with her coworkers, definitely with a lot of us have losing the metaphorical physical water cooler, Viva Engage can help create those sense of communities, help build that personal network, help find and share answers as well, where maybe a topic would be too much for something, where you want more of a community around this effort that the organization is working on, as well as a great place for the organization to create, personal communities, places where people are able to share their experiences outside of work life. A lot of our clients, they have the furry animals or like the cute cat pictures that they want to share. And this is what Viva Engage is for. I mean, it's a great place to have a community within your org because we all crave connections, and we work quite a lot of our time is with our coworkers, and Viva Engage can really help with that. But then to also help understand and set goals and to help set objectives and to be able to track those, Rachel's able to use Viva Goals to help create those measurable goals that are aligned to the organization and what the organization's purpose is, and be able to show that success to her coworkers, to her managers, her team leaders, to her executives, to her skip managers, all that kind of stuff. Viva Goals can help create and track those high-level aligned objectives that are measurable. Now, I'm going to move on to the manager because I actually want to show you this for real. I want to actually show you how you can do a lot of what I just said in Viva today, not just in theory. So to do that, but I want to kind of look at how a manager's life in Viva with a lot of the latest and greatest that Microsoft's been talking about. Now let's take a manager. So here's Ali. He's a manager. He's got a 10 different people, 5 in person, 5 remote, let's say, or something like that. Now, he might do a lot of the things that the knowledge worker would do, but where we can go a little beyond that is where he would use Viva Insights as a team leader to understand how his team is doing in a protected way. And by that, I mean that you do need a minimum amount of people in your team to be able to get these kind of insights. But the idea is that if you see that your team is in meetings 80% of the day, which would be really bad for most organizations, you really don't want to have a team of 2 because you probably would know who that is, and that can get a little weird and creepy. We all sort of agreed on that. So, but you can understand how the team is generally and broadly doing, and Viva Connections can be used by Ali to help get that communication to his team that is most pertinent to them. We talked about using Viva Insights to get in more, to understand more how the organization is doing, using something like Viva Amplify, depending upon the size of the department, to help get some of that internal messaging out. Now, here's one that I like though, but let's say that through Viva Insights, he's realizing that some of the morale is not tracking the way that he wants it to, and that got surfaced in Viva Insights, and so Viva Pulse would be there to help create quick surveys to understand what's happening, and maybe finds out that there's just this lack of communication, lack of community within this team for myriads of reasons. So he uses Viva Engage to help foster social interactions and network building within his org. Viva Topics, sort of like what Rachel was doing, but here he might be using Viva Topics to help create and curate that information so that his team's work can be more broadly shared within the organization. Viva Goals, similar to what Rachel was doing here, Ali could be using it to ensure that his executive level or manager level objectives align with his executives, and that his team as well. You can see how his team's objectives and key results, or I have a whole Viva Goals component where I look at goals as maybe not necessarily having to be tied to OKR, so I'm kind of hemming and hawing a little bit, where goals can just be used to help create these objectives, these things your org wants to do, and help have them aligned with your people that report to you, as well as to how you all align, how Ali's aligning with his executive teams. But then he also wants to help his particular team succeed in that new project, and we know that we're going to have to learn. All he knows his team's going to have to learn something new. So he can go into Viva Learning, he can find some of the courses that are important, and then he can assign them to his team and get metrics and data on how that learning is occurring. Viva Pulse, Viva Insights can help keep them in the loop with how people are doing, with how his team is doing, which we've seen as well. But then at the same time, he maybe see that on a quarterly basis, maybe he sees that there's something that more like the organization has to be pulled on to help get understanding of how the org doing. This is where Viva and Glint can pull together to help get a broader organizational view of what's happening. So the big takeaway I want you to see here is that I want you to think about here is there are these personas, these different ways users in your organization would be using Viva. Help figure that out. Use what I've done maybe as a beginning, as an impetus for that, and then you can create your own path based on the modules you have. So you don't just say go ahead and use topics. You help put it into the context of why and what are they attempting to do, and how does that align with what the org is attempting to achieve as well. So with that, what I want to do is I want to get into a demo. I think that'd be really fun to see this live and in action. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's my thought process. Now I'm using this account called Megan. This is from a CDX. Some of you may know it. It's a partner center, a demo tenant that Microsoft provides on a short-term basis for me to do these kind of things. And the account's name is Megan because it's pre-populated with gigabytes of data, so it's super cool. But think about Megan, Rachel, sort of being the same knowledge worker, because that's sort of that's generally the path that I want to follow. Okay, so what Rachel would be doing, what Megan's doing here, is starting, as I said, in Viva Connections. So we load up Viva Connections, and there's some really cool things that we get here. One of the cool things is that we have the dashboard for Viva Connections, and here's something really interesting: is that Viva Connections, because what I want to show you here is that how Viva can work within the flow of work and help surface your own things. So here's this one that says requests. It says you have some pending requests. All right, so this happens to be an app that we created called the Employee XP. It's all around HRIS and people ops applications. But you can click on that. You can find out like, oh, I have this pending request, all surfaced within my flow of work. I can go view those approvals, and within the Viva platform, you can link out to your own external applications or those own external services. And you can see here how we're instantly navigated within the flow work. This is all live production stuff, everyone, the whole thing. What Viva's doing, there's no special bits here. You can get deep linked into other applications that show you exactly what it is you need to do. This is top of line stuff. I've got to get these PTO requests maybe approved right away. And that can all be surfaced directly within something like Viva Connections. Now we can go a little farther with Viva Connections. We've got the navigation so I can now basically think like surface my intranet, but I'm surfacing it within Teams. Another thing you can do within connections is go into your home site, and here you can more quickly, let's close this. You can get the news, you can understand, you get the dashboard again, which is super cool. This is a demo tenant, so I don't have all the feed, but you can have feed, the feed and whatnot. And Rachel can start her day knowing what's important, what's been announced, what's been released, what are the things that I need to think about, what are the tasks that were assigned to me maybe that I need to deal with right away, so I can just get them off my plate and move on with my day. So the next thing she might do is go into Viva Insights, which I talked about, and start to think through some things. So one of the things I'm thinking about here is go on into well-being. We can go down and say, well, maybe there was that focus time that I need to think about, that I want to work on. Something else that I think that is really useful. And I mean, this takes seconds, and if you put it into your flow of work, how are you doing? How are you starting the day today? Now, what's really important is, how's your privacy protected? And this is clearly one where this is private to you. If you're not feeling good today, you say, I'm just not feeling good today. The idea here is to help you track how you're doing privately, so that you can start to understand your habits, what's going on with you. Now let's go into productivity. We can go into productivity. We can get different information on our meeting habits. We can see how our meetings over the last 4 weeks were. That might help us understand, and there's some other tasks that could be associated with here. But Insights is designed here to help you understand how are you working within the organization, and it's a great place to start. We're talking a couple of minutes here, can help get you an idea of what's going on. And if you were a manager, you would have more tabs to help understand how your manager is doing. Okay, so let me quickly check back here. Perfect. Okay, so think through this knowledge worker's day. They're starting the day, and what's the next thing to do? It's like, what's the most important thing I might need to be working on today? Maybe something's been assigned or whatnot, or I've finished some of my other tasks. Rachel can go to Viva Goals, and through Viva Goals, she can see her OKRs, and with her OKRs, can see the primary thing that she's working on, and like, all right, so some things are generally on track, but this grow pipeline is 24%, although it quote says on track. It seems a little behind the others. Maybe I need to think about it, and I can see here, oh, this is interesting. So this leads, increased leads for new distribution, it's behind. Okay, so maybe this is something that I need to do. This can help set up the rest of your day, the rest of your week. And I really need some focus time on this. We already saw this. Go back to Viva Insights. We can go back to well-being. If we go back to well-being, we can scroll down. I hope I'm not clicking too quick for Microsoft for Viva. So it's working really well. We saw that there was the set the focus time, and I wouldn't mind if it would load for me. Within Viva Insights, there was a section I glossed past it, but it was there, and it showed focus time I already have scheduled for today, but it can help you find these 2-hour blocks that I might have available on my calendar. And there was an arrow I didn't point it out where you can go to the next day, and it would help you find that focus time, because Rachel sees here, well, I might need to really spend some time on this task because one of my KRs is behind, and that's an issue. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you, unfortunately, I just can't because of this tenant, was around topics. So as Rachel's maybe investigating why this particular task is behind, she's finding that there's some new projects that are associated that she doesn't know about, and Viva Topics is a spot to go in. But there we go. That took a little longer than I was hoping for. We can see here that Insights helps you. Instead of having to go to your calendar necessarily, you can find this because it can quickly book it. Going to calendar, you have to find it, you have to create an invite, you have to do it for yourself, set reminders. This just quickly sees this time that you have that you can go ahead and quickly book. And today I just don't have time, so I can go to tomorrow, and I can see these larger blocks of time that I can book. Boom, it's in my calendar, it's blocked off, I can now focus on it. But Topic Center I showed, it's a great way to find data within the org. Maybe there were some questions she had. I'm going to actually show you answers here shortly, where that lives within Insights. But okay, so she's attempting to address this task. She's finding that she needs some more marketing materials. Where would she go for that? Go to Viva Learning. So within Viva Learning, you can go to Viva Learning. We can see within maybe some bookmark stuff, but go search within here. Let's go ahead and she searched for marketing. Now there's a whole bunch of providers here in this particular tenant. In interest in time, I'm just going to scroll down to Learn, because that's of course free for everybody. And she might see that explore the fundamentals of dynamics marketing. Well, that might be really useful because potentially it's been found that that's maybe why we're behind on that particular OKR or that task that she has. Bookmark it for later, or maybe just bookmark it because you can find the 3, 5, 10, 1 or 2 that are interesting here. We can then go to my learning. We can see what's been assigned maybe to her, but then you can go to the bookmark and actually dig into this learning and get it tracked. I love this stuff. No brainer, easy stuff. Great way to grow your experiences and to grow your understandings. Okay, so I got 2 more modules I quickly want to go through. So now as part of this, the process here she's got in understanding what's going on with this particular objective, she might go over to engage. Within engage, looking at the communities, we find that there's this sales best practice community where people are chatting about and talking about the best practices. This might be a great place for her to post more of a social question to the community of people who are aligned to the sales process, where we can have that threaded discussion about, what are some of the best practices we've seen. This could kind of live in a team, but this isn't really like a team working on a project necessarily. This is a broader community of people that aren't necessarily joined to a given team. This is more of a community-driven thing, and there's great values in what Engage can do to help surface that. Now, while I'm here, I also want to then point out answers. This would be a great place where she might go to get answers to specific questions, and she might. Now, I don't have this data populated because, again, I have issues with topics licenses, but you can have this sort of like a frequently asked questions, but it's not. It's a internally curated questions and answers for providing single sources of truth and whatnot. And that's all within this. Okay, so let's wrap this up now in just interest in time. She's ending her day. What's a great way to end the day? My opinion, again, that last 2 minutes, you're about to shut off your computer. You go back to Viva Insights. Maybe there's some praise you want to send. I think this is one of the more important things we really are all we could all do more of. I think is the right way to do it is help raise that awareness of how people are doing, because you work with a lot of great people. I'm sure you do. Help them know that like it's worthwhile. Help give them the visibility that person really helped you today in this thing, or they really rocked it. But here's another one I think is worthwhile. Let's just quickly go back to how'd you do today? I did good. I'm pretty happy with how today went. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was a good day. And just that helps you understand what's going on. And over time, you can see I just set up the CDX tenant. You're going to start to get data about how your emotion is. And this is, again, I do believe Microsoft on this. This is for you. This isn't for anyone else. This isn't going to be sold off to some other organization. This isn't shown to your managers. But you can start to see how you're doing. And this is important. It really is. And you can work with your managers. You can work with your team to say, hey, that this is off. Like, what can we do you can come up with ideas on how to help yourself to then go to your manager, your skip manager, whatever is required to do this. And Insights helps provide that. Okay, I know that was fast. I got a lot more data to go through, but this is real. I showed you nothing that wasn't production. This is GA stuff, pretty cool stuff. Now think about like what Pulse can do. I mean, there's onboarding, there's training, there's definitely like, how do you get people to do this? I get it, but it is there, and those pieces do exist, and you can definitely start to show some stories to your org. All right, here's how I want to finish it, and then we can take any of your specific questions. I want to talk about some best practices here. Like, how can you get started? What's the value here? What's the next thing for you? And here's how I look at this one, which is really start with strategizing and defining what it is you're attempting to do here. What is it you're trying to achieve? Are you just trying to use the module, or what's the real problem? And you may find that the issue has been assigned to you, but you don't get it. Then you work with the org and say, what are the outcomes we're attempting to achieve here? Don't just do this because, I don't know, Microsoft tells you to. What is it you're attempting to achieve? And based off of that, without even thinking through necessarily what Viva can do, is based on that, now you need to familiarize yourself with the Viva platform, the Viva modules. And I went through super fast. I know I did. I'm trying to give you your first foundational steps, and you'll want to go into more detail as to what they do and to assess what's the right tool for you. Where is it? Where is it at? Attempt to reach out to different people to find out where things are on the roadmap and what's available and what's not, etc. What's the features that are now available? What's supposed to be available? Does it start to meet our need? Just understanding what's even available to you? What other third-party applications like Employee XP are available that maybe you've already purchased that integrate within Viva or integrate within teams in the Viva ecosystem? Those are the kind of things you just need to get a basic understanding of. Then you can start to understand, organize, and audit and scope within your org on how Viva can then achieve those outcomes that you're looking for to the audiences that you are attempting to reach. Like, these are really, really important. From here, I can then say, you can start to think through what are you going to do to roll this whole thing out. And here's my process, or here's our process here within Creo Spark, which is thinking through like, okay, we should pilot this thing. How are we going to pilot? Like, what's the plan here? How are we going to roll this out? Are we going to go maybe just to leadership? Maybe you want just leadership within a specific org within your organization. This might be a great way to just, how you can roll it out. Maybe you want to roll this out to a department first. That's the plan. We're going to go to a specific department because name, I don't want to pick on one because I don't want to promote one as better than the others because all departments are really needed. But you might go to a department or a couple departments or subsections, a couple of departments, and roll out Viva slowly with them because they've asked for it. Or maybe you need to roll out 2 different components with 2 different departments, but you have a strategy in mind how they're all going to come together and how you might roll them out. But there's also the Big Bang Theory. You could definitely roll this out the whole org all at once. Here we go, everybody. 5 Viva modules. Here we go. Here's how we're doing it. Here's how we expect you to work. Okay, cool. But think through how are you gonna pilot this thing, because even the Big Bang approach is still a piloting method. You want to know what's the approach you're gonna do. Next thing you need to do is make sure you got those licensing there, because licensing is interesting. What modules are you going to pay for? The licensing can start to get up there into the 12, 14, 20, 25, 30 USD per employee per month. There are annual commitments that seem to get that lower. Here's the thing though. So I look at it and say something that something even like Answers, something that's kind of simple like that, something like Glint, definitely something Viva Goals. A lot of these ones are the value to the cost is so offset. I mean, you're basically saying like 1 or 2 employees' salaries would pay for a lot of for an org of 1,000 people to be able to get a bunch of the Viva, like all the costs to get the Viva suite for everyone in a 1,000-person org. Now, 10, 100,000, I guess a few more employees, but the ROI on that can be huge. You look at what I showed you and helping people do their job and find the training they need and find the content. I mean, every org I've worked with is always searching around for everything. They don't know where anything lives. A lot of the Viva modules provides that. Even Viva Connections, which is free, already included in your licensing. Just used reasonably properly, you've got your global nav there within Teams. You've got the news, the important stuff. Licensing, though, is going to be key. Getting the budget and setting that up, because if you don't have a license, you can't do it. Then you want to make sure you've got the technical requirements set up that you can actually run all of Viva. That's not too challenging. There's not a lot there. Microsoft manages most of it, but you do need to make sure you can get all of these modules installed. You've got permissions to do it, or you've got someone over in IT who's going to allow you to do it. Then working through like getting guidance on different roles for the different phases. Like, do you have the right team set up? So think like through the planning, the building, the launching phases. Do you have the people, or who are the people that are going to need to be involved in those different planning, building, launching phases? So thinking through what's going on there. Then get started, right? Actually start building these things out. Each app has its own installation process, its own setup process. I mean, something like Viva Goals can be fun to set up for sure. Topics can require a whole bunch of data to be put in there. Engage, all of them have their own thing, but Engage needs community leaders to really take ownership to help foster and build those communities and keep them vibrant, keep them going, find those people, but actually putting it all together. And then finally, it's time to roll it out, right? Time to launch it, scale with adoption, scale adoption with the end users, and providing them office hours or content or help or a place that they can go to ask how to use this thing, providing them material on the internet, whatever it is, help them do it. And there's a Silicon Valley term we use a lot, which is nail it and then scale it. You get it right with that pilot group. You understand really what you're trying to do with Viva, kind of like anything, but Viva is so broad. It can be a little more challenging, but you get it right, and then you scale it out to your org, and you could just be so successful. all this material you're going to be able to get. So I know I keep going fast, but it's all there for you. I really want to help you understand overall where Viva is. We went through the modules. We saw it all in live, like we saw different personas, how they use it. We saw it live, how it actually can work. I've given you some general thoughts on how to get started with all of this and how to think through that. In the last few minutes I do want it to tell you about something that we've been doing here over at CryoSpark. And I know a link is going to be coming up for you to learn more. We offer a service within CryoSpark to help you get started. It's a 4-week Viva rollout package where we help you do a lot of this pre-stuff. The costs are also available for you on that link, but generally the way we budget is about like 80 hours of our work, so you can kind of get some cost ideas on there. If you want to learn more though, we've got a lot of great detail for you, and there's some great things you can do with Viva. Don't get stuck with it. You don't get stuck like you don't know what to do. There's lots of material available to you from this slide deck. From Microsoft Learn has got a whole bunch of stuff that can really help you get started. We're definitely there, happy to help you as well. We've been successfully rolling out Viva with a lot of our clients. We'd love to have you on board with us. There's just really no excuse. Okay. We do have some resources for you. We will be making those available via the deck. So a lot of the links that I showed you, all that kind of stuff will be available. I'll be posted out. Those of you that have joined us here live, you'll get all that stuff in your email very soon, so you can get some cool stuff. But with that, gosh, this was a fun session. Thank you all. The time for me just went by really fast, and I have so much more I'd love to say. But with that, Michael, I'm going to hand it back to you. If there are any questions, if we don't have time, no worries. But I know we have some wrap up to do.
Yeah, we do have some wrap up to do. We did have one question come in for you. What role does Planner play in all of this?
Well, it's sure helpful to have a task management tool to help you roll this out and stuff. Like that's such a fun, broad question. In a sense, I'd say, well, it doesn't, because I don't use Planner. I use Jira. I use our own task management tool, whatever. So it's not directly integrated as a Viva module, but you can use Planner through anything that I showed you. Within Viva Goals, you can link a Viva Goal KR directly into a planner so that it gets directly, as you update the planner, as you update a plan, it will automatically get surfaced within Viva Goals. It can help you with setting the tasks to roll this out. So many different ways, but it's not a direct module, so it is separate.
Got it. There you go. Thank you, Neil, for sending that question in. Appreciate you for asking that. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. This is maybe the first time we've ever ended right on time for a session with Eric. So everyone, a round of applause. I blame the group that's here today for getting us out of here on time.
So much fun.
Eric, if you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide, please. There you go. So, hey, I mentioned a survey earlier. I am a man of my word. Here it is. We, as I mentioned before here at CryoSpark, are a culture of constant improvement. So we want to make sure we're always doing the best job we can. So it's a little survey about the webinar series. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's something you'd like to see. Let us know how you're feeling about the webinar. The webinar series. I mean, we'll get your thoughts in there, take those in, run them around with our team, and see where we're at. And if you do the survey, you are entered in to win a $50 Amazon gift card. We've been doing these drawings for a while now. We are going to start doing them quarterly. So we'll be collecting the responses over the next couple sessions, doing that drawing a little bit down the road there. So please make sure you get your, if you'd like to be entered into that drawing, please follow the link, follow the QR code, fill out that survey, and let us know what you think. Real quick though, follow-up question to the question I just asked you, Eric. In regards to the planner question, does it work just as well with Viva or DevOps?
I'm thinking it means Viva Goals. I'm going to assume that.
I'm going to assume that, yes.
Yeah. Yes. So Viva Goals can integrate with both of them. To say just as well, it depends on the level of complexity you want, because Planner is like simpler to use, but DevOps has the same general idea, and Viva Goals does integrate with lots of different external tools. One that we also use is Asana. It connects with Asana really well as well. So generally, yes. One thing I did also see on this was, so I've been having syncing problems with my computer, and I know that Michael, Danielle, and our marketing team did some great work on the slide deck for me, that some of it didn't get synced. And one of them's here. This thing says it closes April 27th, 2023. That's incorrect. It would be May 27th, 2023. I'm pretty sure. So apologize for that, but yeah, that's the way it goes.
Oh, and Neil clarified he meant Jira, not Viva. So Jira or DevOps. Would it work well with Jira or DevOps?
Yeah, same general idea. Yes, that would all work the same to me. I see them all. We've used Jira as well. We use DevOps. We use different tools for different particular projects, and yes, they all connect. And I would think they would all serve the same purpose, no matter how you integrate throughout and how you use them within the Viva system. And to me, it's like such a broad topic. Helping you manage the project, generally Viva project, like how you're going to roll it out, as well as how it work in Viva goals, as well as how as other applications or other Viva components would be using a task management tool to help integrate.
There you go. Thank you
Right
for those
on.
questions. Thank you for those answers. Love it. Well, with that, we're at the time. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. Always love having you guys. You guys have been a really fun group. Eric, as always, thank you so much for coming back and joining us for another webinar, talk about Viva and all the stuff that's going on with it, and giving us an idea of there. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great rest of your week. Happy 3-day weekend if you're in the U.S. And everyone, we will see you around next time. Like I said, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you all down the road. Take it easy, everybody.
Bye, all.